Mr. Eggplant presents...
Hey guys, Tyler here, and thank you for checking out this video. And I have another Mythic Plus dungeon run from the pre-patch here, and this is going to be a plus 12 timed Ruby life pools from last week. So the affixes are Tyrannical, Volcanic, and Sanguine. And we actually 3-chested this. We were absolutely zooming. So I knew we were going to be doing a really big pull here right at the beginning. I am using light ammo, so I'm going to get a ton of value out of that. Right now I'm just going to try to extend my volley as much as possible, and I do have kill zone in this run, so everything that's up in that volley is taking 8% more damage from me. Here I'm just going to do aim shot, and then when the rapid fire comes up, as long as I have trick shots, it's going to drop that volley. I'm just going to continue to extend that. Saw some really good damage, and we have some really good damage in this group, so we absolutely massacred this stuff, particularly since it's a Tyrannical week, so a lot of this stuff has less health. There are some priority purges that you can do on the shield there, like for example that the Earthshaper here had the shield that I probably should have got rid of there. There, I finally do it. But then we're just going to finish them off, and then we're going to do another big pull. And we kind of spaced them out in such a way where we didn't really have to worry about Sanguine that much. And you guys know, if you guys have checked out my channel here in Dragonflight, I don't post a ton of Ruby life pools. For one, there's not a lot of items that I want, but also I don't really like this dungeon. It's not fun for me, particularly on that the flame spit on the last boss. But we did actually zoom right through this. I think it took us like 17 minutes to go through this this key. So I really wanted to share it with you guys because it really goes to show just how much damage that we can be putting out on our Marksman Hunter here in the pre-patch. I'm definitely going to miss our tier bonus once it goes away in the War Within proper. So looking at my cooldowns, I have my True Shot up, and I'm going to have goals. I've said this in previous videos here on my channel. I'm in the pre-patch. I'm going to have multiple goals every time I go into a key. I'm going to try some different combinations of abilities, and I'm going to try to just send True Shot. Just send it, send it, send it. I held it here, and I'm actually going to hold it for this entire duration just for the boss. I wasn't entirely sure how long it would take us to take out the fire here. But the best way to increase your damage in the War Within is to do two things. One is to not let your aim shots cap out on charges, and then also is to send True Shot. Get in the habit of sending True Shot almost on cooldown. Obviously don't use it on like 1 or 2 enemies, but use it, and that way you're getting it on cooldown and you're whittling that cooldown. You're getting it back thanks to our calling the shots. That's the best way to increase your damage, because if you get in the habit of getting it down to like a minute or a minute 15, for example, you're going to get more True Shots out during a Mythic Plus dungeon, and that's going to be huge for your damage. So here we go. We got the boss. I'm not going to go ahead and misdirect on pull, and I am the Lust, so here comes Ucklock, and then we're just going to try to cluster those hail bombs in good spots. Here comes the Lust. Unfortunately, the Windwalker died just before I hit Lust. That feels bad. I apologize for that. I wish I would have timed that just a little bit better, but it is what it is. So we have Melidrussa here, and she's at 75% health. She's going to bring out her first set of whelps, and that's what I want to have my misdirect for. And I just use my True Shot just to delay it enough to where I'm going to have it up for whelps to do a ton of damage. Here comes the misdirect, here comes the whelps, courtesy of multi-shot, and I'm going to get back on Melidrussa so we can get rid of that overload, that frost overload shield. So you have to burn through the shield, and then you can interrupt her. Otherwise, you're pretty much going to wipe, because she does a ton of damage. AoE damage, and your group will eventually not be able to keep up. Alright, so we're already at 50% health. I'm not going to get rid of Ucklock, and anytime the big circle comes down, I'm going to save my turtle for it. I know I don't need to use my defensive here, and I do lose one of my defensive since Ucklock is out. But here comes the Awakened Whelps. Version 2, here comes the misdirect, and then I'm going to make it so much easier for my tank. I'm going to get back on Melidrussa, and then we're just going to burst through that frost shield as soon as possible. As soon as the shield is broken, we can interrupt her, and then the fight is pretty much over. So continue to get those hailfire bombs clumped up together as much as possible, and then if you get the circle, which I believe I get it here in the next one. So I'm going to use my Survival of the Fittest to deal with these, since that's a 30% damage reduction. We have 2 charges now here in the pre-patch. That way I know for a fact I'm going to survive, particularly this low health-wise with the boss. There's the Hailfire Bombs, and then I believe I am the one who gets it next. So I set my True Shot here just to finish off the boss. I'm going to go ahead and use my Cheetah to get out there, and then I'm just going to use my Turtle. We're almost dead. I don't need to do anything fancy. You can also go out there and then disengage back, and that way you're that much closer. You get that speed boost from disengage with post haste, but it's really not that big of a deal. I'm going to go ahead and dismiss the pet here, and we are already 1 boss down in this Mythic Plus. So scarier things are ahead. We did 610k overall. The Frost DK and I were neck and neck for this entire dungeon, and shout out to them, really doing some amazing damage. And honestly, the entire group, we've had pretty much 4 of 5 be the same, just on various characters and alts over the last couple of weeks. But we've been really testing some dungeons and testing marksmen in dungeons I know, so I can, go to dungeons I don't know here in a couple, a couple weeks now for the War Within. So we're going to go ahead and pull Thunderhead here. You just want to dodge the breath on that. And I'm just going to continue to do my normal rotation. Just make sure I always have trick shots up, thanks to either volley or thanks to my multi-shot hitting 3 targets before I'm using any rapid fire or any aim shot. Watch out for the tree. Sometimes that's the hardest part. You want to dodge that breath again, and then the dot's going to come out. That's when I would potentially be using one of my defensives. So here we're just going to clear out the ring. So Fubar has a pretty good grasp on what needs to be pulled in every one of these dungeons. But this one, there's not too much stuff you skip, to be honest. I have True Shot here, so I'm getting ready to use my True Shot. There comes the volley. I'm going to drop that thanks to my tier set. And then I'm just going to use Rapid Fire. It's off cooldown. And then I'm just going to cleave off of one enemy. I guess I really should get in the habit of cleaving off of, or like switching targets consistently, to get more Serpent Stings out. However, thanks to Serpent Stalker's trickery. However, it's kind of weird because you also have the bow, the Nelthrax bow, the 535 bow that I'm using, and that one wants you to stay on the same target. So I don't know really what I should be doing. All I know is that we're doing a bunch of damage in this key, and I should probably just continue to do what I'm doing. All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this Blaze of Glory here, and that way that the Primalist can die, and then we're going to continue on with the next big pull. So they're pretty clustered up, which definitely helps our damage for light ammo. Maybe I don't pick light ammo in this dungeon moving forward. Maybe I could go and move that point over into In the Rhythm or something like that. It does feel really bad, and I really wish I had In the Rhythm for all of these builds, but unfortunately the way the points are working, it doesn't really work very well. You could also move the Careful Aim point out as well. Careful Aim isn't as big of a deal right now since most of our damage is with rapid fire anyway. And then maybe I could run with that In the Rhythm there and get that 8% haste every time I use a rapid fire for 6 seconds. But all right, we're making some really good time. Everyone's running sideways, so you know that we're having a good time here in Ruby Life Pools. So the Destroyer is going to put this AoE out there, and we do want to make sure that we knock up the rest of the group with that. That's very, very important to get rid of a lot of those interrupts. Luckily, I didn't have to worry about it too much. If Inferno comes out there, like you can see, you can use a defensive there. That way the dot that's on you just does less damage. And then you want to continue to get rid of that Blaze of Glory, so that way we can continue on with our key, and we don't have to worry about them doing all that extra damage and potentially one-shotting one of your teammates. So here every time I run up to these, I get onto the Destroyer, and then I just cleave off of the Destroyer. And then once in a while, I'll get my interrupt on one of the other ones. But since we are melting this stuff, it's not that big of a deal. I am going to use my defensives pretty liberally, though. Here I had another defensive that just went out there in Ruby Life Pools, because even on a Tyrannical week, a lot of these ads still do a ton of damage. Alright, so we're just continuing on here. We're just really just getting through this stuff as quickly as possible. I got bonked there, unfortunately. And then as soon as we clear out all of these enemies and we save the pools, then Blazehoof will be active. And then we will start that boss fight, which used to be pretty scary for me, which she is now up. Was pretty scary, but now I don't really mind it too much. So here, I need to figure out which way we're driving, so we're going to actually go to the left as a group, so I want to make sure that we're dropping all of this stuff to the right to start out. So the ad comes out, so I'm going to save all of my cleave abilities here so I can do double damage on those. Even if it's a 2-target encounter, I'm still able to cleave off of both thanks to volley. So there we absolutely annihilated that firestorm so quick, and then we're already at basically 75% on Blazehoof. Here the next one's going to be a boulder, so you want to watch out for the boulder. You have to be very careful. Once in a while that lip, it will get caught and it will kill you. That happened to me on the plus 14 or 15 we did in here later on. Actually it was this last week, so it'd be a fortified week. So there, the next ritual comes out, so that means we have 2 meatballs headed our way. You have your Inferno there, so if you wanted to, I could use my turtle there, or I could have used, so I wouldn't have got the dot at all to save my healer some mana, or I could have used the defensive there. I just didn't. We're not too worried about this fight, though. So here we should have 1 more meatball, so there's the boulder, so it goes add, meatball, meatball, I think it's 2 meatballs, then add meatball, meatball. I think it's that. It's either that or 3 boulders. So we know that we're going to get the add here. So we're at 35% of the boss, and then I have my AoE again. So here comes the boulder. We're going to do some AoE on the firestorm. I used my defensive there, so that way I didn't take as much damage from the dot. And then Blazehoof is already at 25% health. So we should have 1 more meatball left, so we're going to try to dot to bait that in good spots there, and then the next thing is going to be an ad, but the boss is almost dead. So this one I'm moving a lot more, so I'm not doing as much damage as I would like, but we're still getting some pretty good value overall. And so here comes the last molten boulder, the meatball, and the boss is down, and let's go ahead and move to the very end of this dungeon. This dungeon's not very big. There's not a ton of packs. There's not a ton of bosses, and the timer is pretty lenient, all things considered. So here we're going to pull everything here. So I'm going to cleave off of the channeler there. So that's where I dropped my volley. I had a bad volley placement since we moved the channeler. That wouldn't be very good in the War Within proper, but it is fine for me because I can easily just get more volleys thanks to our tier set. And that's something that's one of the main reasons I'm picking Killzone right now, is because you can just, even if you screw it up and you don't drop things correctly, it doesn't matter. You're going to get another one within, probably 10 seconds or so. But I guess I forgot to mention, I ended up doing 615k DPS overall in this run, and my uptime on Blue Silk Lining, which I'm using 2 Blue Silk Lining, is 62.2%. My item level is 527. My trinkets I'm using are going to be the Neltharian's Call to Dominance at 535, and a Augury of the Primal Flame at 528, and my item level overall is 527 with a 535 weapon. I've actually added a bunch of new gear over the last day or so as of me recording this voiceover. So finally, I'm 1 item short of a perfect build for me. So I need Mythic Gloves. So maybe I'll try to do a Kazara fight or get lucky out of my vault. We'll just have to wait and see, because the vault's not been kind to me recently. So here we're just sending cooldowns. We know that we have a big pull ahead of us. And then I have a smaller pull. So if I want to have my true shot up for the boss, I know I can just pretty much send stuff. So there's the misdirect, and then we're just going to get on the main channeler there, and then just do our rotation, do our damage minus true shot. So there goes the volley, then aim shot, and then I'm going to follow that up with a multi-shot just because I don't have anything else. Unfortunately, that stuff died very, very quickly. So I don't know if it's unfortunately, but we did a lot of damage. So we're in one of those key levels where we're doing more damage than probably the key level would. We 3-tested it, so that would make sense that we were really zooming and doing the damage. So things don't last super long, and it is a Tyrannical week after all. Alright, so True Shot is up. Boss is active. We're going to kill these 4 thunderclouds, and we are going to be on the very last boss. So on this last boss, all the groups I've been in, we stick in the middle here. So we want to put that in a good spot. I'm going to be the Lust here in just a second. And we are going to just do some damage to the dragon as much as possible. There goes the Lust there. And then whenever the dragon's not in range, I'm just going to get back on Stormvein. That's just what I've been doing, and it's made this so much easier for me whenever I'm doing these dungeons. And keeping that volley was huge, so I can cleave on both of these. It's so huge to our damage. I wish I could have been a little bit better at it, because we're going to get ready for the boss to transition, which I got bonked. Here comes the transition. When the dragon gets to 50%, that's when they become one, and we did lose our healer there, and so this is the little bit of a dicey area. I'm just going to be continuing to do damage to the dragon, and I'm honestly, it's AoE damage. I'm able to hit them both thanks to volley. I probably should have held my volley there just a little bit. I got the dreaded spit, so I have to be very, very careful here. I somehow survived thanks to my defensives, thanks to some side heals, and I was not getting out of that, so I went ahead and used my turtle. I wish I didn't, but it didn't end up costing me. And also, I'm hitting both of the bosses right now, so I'm very, very close to death. I'm getting some like clutch side heals there, and that's the only reason I survived. I guess our healer is up here, so I'm the only DPS left. The dragon is almost dead. In fact, I switched off the dragon thinking it was going to be fine, and I'm prolonging this. I should have been on the dragon the entire time until she died. But we are almost done with this dungeon. Some good damage overall. This build still has good damage for single target and for AoE. Obviously, it's much, much better for AoE, but we can still get some quality damage using salvo and all of the AoE abilities, even in single target. And if you bring some enemy, like one or two more enemies, like if you start bringing those into the boss and higher keys, our damage really, really skyrockets. So I have a ton more videos that are coming out very soon. I hope you guys will check those out. Consider subscribing to be here on YouTube if you haven't already, and follow me over at Twitch at twitch.tv/Mr. Eggplant. I think I have like 7 or 8 Mythic Plus videos that need to come out. I probably won't do them all in long form, but I hope you guys will check those out. Best of luck in the pre-patch. Best of luck in the War Within. Thank you guys for checking out and supporting my content, and I'll see you next time.